Hey, what is going on everybody, and welcome to Fantasia. For today, we're going to be jumping into another session of Epic 7 out today. Got some more summoning for you guys. That's right, this time around, we're going to be summoning for Disciplinary Prefect Aria. That is quite a mouthful to say, actually. But yeah, she is, according to the community, underwhelming, but honestly, I kind of like her kit and what she does, and the potential she has against squishier, faster teams. So I am going to try to summon for her, and I know, there is ML Roz on the horizon. However, if I don't get her here, the pity will stack up towards ML Roz. And if I do get her here, then cool, I'll have a new toy to play with, and you guys get some new content with some new units. Let's keep going and let's see what we get here. We're gonna go and grab a 5-star artifact, it seems. So, oh god, Iron Fans on this rotation? That actually kind of sucks. Okay, so what is on this rotation? Flan and Iron Fan, both not really good. Next week is probably a little bit better. Sword of Summer Twilight and Luluka, not bad at all. But I'm not gonna wait for next week. Let's just go ahead and summon here. If I don't get her with these mystics, I've been trying to refresh the secret shop, but I feel like they've nerfed the rates there. Maybe it's just me. Let's see, come on now. This is Skipperoo. We do get a 4-star. It's gonna be a warrior, and it's gonna be Kawazu. Okay, so nothing really of note here. Oh god, we are so far from getting to pity. Alright, I'm just gonna do some single summons. I don't want to over summon here, just in case we do accidentally like get her and, you know, be like, oh, you wasted 5 more summons on this banner. That could have gone towards ML Roz. I'm being very, very wishful right now with my thinking. This is assuming I even get the ML Aria and I don't just walk away with a bunch of 3-stars. Okay, so come on. At least give me a little bit of a 4-star here besides Envoy's Pipe. Okay. Timeless Anchor used to be a pretty good artifact too. Back in the day before it was nerfed. I remember every Aravi out there luck sacking you with that. What have we got here? Kaladra, very strong. Ooh, actually, I did want this artifact. Give me more Kaladras. I do want a second copy that I want to build up. So I'll have to swap the one I currently have back and forth between my 2 PvE teams for expeditions. I have enough charms that it really does not matter. So we'll try to build up a second copy of Kaladra. Maybe we'll get more copies today. Oh, but I forgot. It's an Envoy's Pipe rate up. 3 in a row! Look at that. We got tic-tac-toe here. Can we get a bingo? No, we can't. It's Junie. But yeah, Disciplinary Prefect Aria is really nice, mostly because I want to use her for the resist buff that she gives everybody on the team. I know people say her damage is a little lackluster and stuff, very nice. But yeah, I really just want her as like a kind of sub-DPS kind of unit that contributes a little bit to the team, right? Kind of like how Empyrean Ilanov is great for support on the team, and she does contribute a bit of damage. That's kind of what I want Aria for here. You know, you don't necessarily need every DPS unit to one-shot your opponent. That is not quite, does not quite make for interesting gameplay. So, yeah, I am of the mindset of, if a unit is slightly weaker than, like, the meta level of power, I think it's okay. It will be fine, and I don't necessarily think that we need some sort of an emergency buff immediately, just because she's not, you know, one-shotting every unit out there. Oh, whoa, hang on, how many more summons? Oh, we actually have more summons than I thought. Okay, or maybe I already had a little bit of pity built up, so this is kind of cool. We're at least gonna get a quarter of the way here through summons. Come on, at least give me a purple somewhere. It doesn't have to be a spark, but I don't even know who the ML4 rate up is right now. I didn't pay attention when we looked at the rate ups. Oh no, this is not looking good. I think I'm running out of summons. Don't think we have many more. 4-star here. It's gonna be an artifact of Hillock Glands. Dang it. I really want another Kaladra. Alright, and Envoy's Pipe rate up. Nope. Cursed Compass. Come on now. I need to see a purple somewhere. Please. A little bit of purple. Maybe... Oh, wait. 3 in a row? 3 in a row? Oh! Wait. No way. Tic-tac-toe, 3 in a row. We got it, guys. Disciplinary Prefect Aria has officially been obtained, and we didn't waste any mystics, so now I can desperately try to save up for ML Raz. Okay, very nice. Very nice. That means we get to save 1,000 mystics, and you guys will have a little bit of a showcase for how she works. Okay guys, so before we jump into the little showcase of Disciplinary Prefect Aria, and I'm sure many of you guys have already seen footage of her out there. Personally, I haven't tried her out yet because I pulled her last night and I went to sleep. But let's go ahead and take a look here. We have her at plus 15 because I hear that she needs all the damage that she can really get, right? Even with the penetration stacking up, apparently people say her damage is a little lackluster, but we'll give her a shot ourselves and see how it plays out. This is the current build that I ended up going with. I'm actually not on a penetration set, unfortunately. I could not muster the stats for it, but I ended up getting up to 65 effect resistance, so I can have 300 effect res on my Aria here, because she gets 65% for every 10k HP that you have, plus the 40% from her passive. So yeah, that brings her up to like I think 235%, and plus the extra 65% brings her over the 300 threshold. We are on Prayer of Solitude for our artifact here. Gives us some extra HP, so when we're in combat, we're actually going to get 7.5% of our 28k health added on top of that. Yeah, so it's going to be really nice. I think we're going to break 30k HP pretty easily. Now, when we attack, we do increase the damage dealt by 7%, and when we use our extra attack, which she guarantees with her S1 when she gets her buff on her S3, yeah, then we're going to guarantee that extra amount of damage, which is pretty good. We're on Destruction set and HP set just for the extra bulk. I could not muster these stats with a penetration set, unfortunately. I just didn't have the stats for it, but hey, I'll be on the lookout for some gears in the future, and then we'll see how it plays out. But let's go ahead and jump into some arena showcases and see how she does. So for our first team, I thought, hey, might as well go against one of the most common teams that are out there, right? This kind of Mort, Young Senya, Harseti, and Afternoon Soak Flan team, which is, yeah, just pretty much everywhere. Let's see how we fare against this. I am bringing my own Mort and Young Senya here, but I am also bringing Sea Phantom Politis. I did change her from a speed boot to an HP boot, so she's a little bit tankier, but I'm just hoping that we are able to kind of, not get killed by this Mort here. I'm really praying that we don't get killed by the Mort here. So we are going to get some nice ship damage onto this Mort from the Young Senya, and because I have Sea Phantom Politis on my team, it's going to cut the focus from Afternoon Soak Flan and the Fighting Spear from Young Senya in half. Well, I guess the Harseti too, but no one really cares about Harseti's focus. Let's go for an S3 here. Let's see if we can at least fear some people. I know you can't fear Mort, but we're going to try our best to kind of get rid of him if we can. Oh, beautiful. That extra damage from the friendship right there was beautiful. Got rid of the Mort, and we should actually be able to push the Mort back here with a little S3 action. And let's see if this, there we go, good. We stripped the barrier, which is very nice. Now, if I go for an S3, right, we are able to grant barriers to everybody. We increase defense penetration by 35%. You can stack this twice, and this always crits when you S3. Now, on the other hand, if you S1, you gain combat readiness, and when Purge is on cooldown, the S3, you can activate your extra attack, right, which is kind of cool. So let's go ahead and just go for the S3 here onto the Mort. Let's see how much damage we do. We do have a rage buff on us, which helps a little bit, but it shouldn't help all that much. It shouldn't be that significant. Yeah, there we go. Actually, it's not that bad. It's not that bad. I honestly expected it to be much worse with what people were saying. But we do have a little bit of injury on our Aria right now, which is unfortunate, but we should be able to survive that. And let's just go ahead and... Ooh, you know what? I am not going to hit the Afternoon Soak Flan. Let's just focus our attention onto this Fire Flan. And look at this. When Aria dual attacks, right, or counter attacks, she does go for the S1 and an S2, which is really nice. Or sorry, not an S2, but like the extra attack there. So if I get the dual attack, like here... Oh, never mind. Mort has higher attack in this case. But yeah, Aria, not too shabby. Let's go for a hit onto the Flan. Look at the extra attack coming in here. I want to finish her off so she doesn't dual attack with the young Senya. Yeah, look, not bad. The overall damage output is not too shabby, right? Now we are in a little bit of danger here because of this young Senya. She's going to take an extra turn. Yeah, she's going to get that no bullying. No, the only thing I would say that was a little strange when I was reading her kit is that her S1 actually doesn't crit. Normally it's the extra attack that does. And I think if they were to tweak her a little bit, I think that's all she really needs is just to have that S1 crit. But even then, I think her damage output in this was pretty solid, right? Especially into Mort, which is a relatively tanky unit. Alright guys, so we're also going to jump into this fight here, which is a really popular team that's floating around right now, right? Fallen Cecilia, Harsetti, Bossarunka, and typically you either see Empyrean Ilinov here or a Mort, which is what we see here. Unfortunately, because of the Mort, I am actually just going to bring in my own Mort here to prevent him from counterattacking, also prevent the Bossarunka from counterattacking, and this is going to be a good measure of how much damage Aria can do in a sustained, longer bruiser v bruiser type of fight, right? There's a very dedicated tank down team on the right side here with my opponent, and we'll see how it plays out. The Aria is actually going to be super resistant. You see, like, no debuffs will ever touch her, which is fantastic. If there is a non-Mort team on the other side or a non-Harsetti team on the other side, we could try to go for a bit more diverse team comp here, but young Senya typically is just super good into Harsetti, and I just really don't want to pass that up. So we could go for an S3 here, but honestly, because the Bossarunka and FCC both have their immunity, I actually don't really want to do that right now. So I'll go for an S3 here. We'll give a barrier to everybody, and I think that will be alright. Yeah, let's just do it. You have to kind of start out with your S3 anyway, because if you just go for an S1 without doing the S3, you're kind of not dealing any damage at all. So yeah, that first hit here, not a whole ton of damage. She is a bulkier unit, right, that scales with defense, so we do need to ramp up that S3 before we can start dealing noticeable damage, hopefully. Alright, Last Rider Crowd's going to come in with his S3. This is huge because we want this immunity really bad, at least before this, Oh, don't strip. Okay, good, he didn't strip any of the buffs. Okay, before this Mort comes in with the S3 here. I don't want to get feared at all, right? So that Fallen Cecilia, some are built with effectiveness. That one didn't seem like it was, which is good. The extra effect res for the team from the Aria definitely helps in that regard here. Okay, so now I can go for an S3. We can break the skill nulls off everybody and hopefully inflict fear, which would be wonderful. And even if we're not really dealing damage to anybody else here, we can at least, yeah, there we go. At least break the skill nulls and hit the Bossarunka for a little bit. Unfortunately, Bossarunka does still turn cycle quite a bit when you attack her, so probably not the best here for Aria to be smacking her twice. That's 50% combat readiness for the opponent. And yeah, the damage kind of lackluster here, but they had a defense buff on a really high defense unit. I really should be trying to soul burn the S3 whenever I can to try to get as much damage as possible. Okay, so Mort now, let's just go for an S1. There we go, and Harsetti still feared, very nice. Let's soul burn the S3 now, see how much damage we can do with this one. Second S3. Okay, it's not terrible, honestly. Bossarunka is notoriously very difficult to take down without defense penetration. Right, and she is going to go for her S3 here onto the Aria, which really sucks. I really don't want her to die here, but she is relatively tanky. I did build her with some bulk. Okay, so we will go for an S3. We'll push up the team, we'll kind of cycle. Harsetti makes it so your speed is negligible, but combat readiness pushing is definitely the way to go and makes and breaks these types of matches, honestly. Alright, let's go for the S1 again. And then on the next turn, we can soul burn another S3. Thankfully, she only requires 10 souls to soul burn. And that's the other thing we can't really test with her right now, is her passive. basically doubling the cost of soul burns for the other side. It is something that's really powerful, and I think coupled with Bellion in RTA, she can make for really good anti-cleave. I know her damage kind of lackluster in like a bruiser v bruiser matchup, and her kit kind of points to her wanting a longer match, but personally I think she might actually have a lot of usage just against squishier units, right? I think she has a lot of potential there, so I can't wait to take her out into RTA and test her out there. But that'll have to wait for right now, because see, bruiser v bruiser matchups are a bit rough. Look at that, just taking forever, right? Okay, good, we got defense break. Let's see what we're able to do with a defense break, and our third S3 should be full defense penetration now. So, let's see how much damage she does with this. Not bad, pretty good. Pretty good. But again, we did have the defense break there. That was our third S3, so do keep that in mind. And now we have an extra attack coming out here. Very nice. So yeah, when Aria ramps up, I feel like she can kind of swing the momentum back in your favor as the match kind of drags on. But yeah, you're definitely going to need some supports and stuff. My last Rider Crow, by the way, has no resistance, which is why he's getting debuffed by the Harsetti here, who typically is built with some effectiveness. Okay, so Mort can't debuff us. Aria actually has more health than the Mort here, which is really nice. Makes it so that our effect resistance can kick in. Mort will ignore the res of everyone who is lower HP than him, which is why I kind of do like to push the 30k threshold, right, with Aria here. See, with her artifact, she's looking pretty good right now. I'm gonna go for the Mort, try to finish him off. Oh, 1,000 damage for the 1,000 damage for the initial hit, followed up with 8,000 damage. That's a lot more reasonable. Do like to see that. Let's go ahead and dual attack here. I was hoping to bring the Aria, but it's okay. He is going to hit us, and we'll be fine. A little barrier action from the LRK that's been saving us this entire time. Let's go for an S3. Why not? Let's soul burn it. This should kill everybody, but I think Mort hasn't revived yet, so he should be on Holy Sacrifice. Oh, didn't kill the Harsetti, but there we go. Killed the Mort. Let's go ahead and finish off the Harsetti here. Beautiful stuff. And let's go for an S3. Let's see if Aria can actually finish off the Mort with this hit. If she can, I'd say... Oh! Hey. I'd say pretty respectable damage all around, right? Not bad at all, but she does take some time to ramp up, and I think that's where part of the issue kind of lies. So moving on into the third showcase match here, we got well, the team I was talking about just previously. They replaced the Great Mortelix with Empyrean Ilanov. Now, Empyrean Ilanov is pretty much like the natural enemy to anyone who uses defense penetration, so namely going to be Aria in this case, which kind of sucks. However, into this team, they don't really have any cleansers besides FCC kind of using her S3 to throw back some debuffs and Empyrean Ilanov's S3 to kind of cleanse, but it's on a relatively long cooldown. So I'm going to bring in my New Moon Luna, and we're going to use her to turn cycle and make sure that we S3 after everybody else uses their skills. And I'm also bringing in Dragon King Sharon because I needed to, well, let's throw some diversity into this in terms of units that we're using. I don't want to just use Young Senya all the time, but Dragon King Sharon also is going to be nice in case this Harsetti is on Abyssal Crown, stun some of our units or whatever. We'll get to cleanse, right, which is pretty decent. Obviously a little bit counterintuitive with the Aria here, but hey, New Moon Luna and Dragon King Sharon, neither of them have any resistance. So yeah, we'll also be able to use her S3 to defense break the entire team on the other side, hopefully softening them up so that our Aria can do some work. So that's the logic behind this team. Let's see if it works out. Hopefully, we don't get our teeth kicked in. So this is going to be kind of a slog in terms of a fight, unless we land some really nicely timed defense breaks. We'll see. So here comes the S3. The no counter buff comes out. Unfortunate. However, yeah, Empyrean Ilanov is going to go next. So we're not going to bother with an S3 here. I'm just going to go for an S1. Right, no stuns, and Boss Olympic is to go perfectly fine. Empyrean Ilanov should be able to go next. And I brought FCC as my tank here because the two light units on the other side, the Bossarunka and the Imperial Ilanov, are the main damage dealers. So I really wanted to make sure I could bring a unit who can really take some hits. So Fallen Cecilia just kind of fit the bill. The issue here is that their FCC on the other side has not used any skills yet. So I am going to hold off on the S3 because I don't want the Fallen Cecilia to throw back my seal and, you know, seal my my Dragon King Sharoon. So let's go for an S3 here, and Soul Burn it so we can turn cycle this, the cooldowns. I want to be able to get the S3 back up again really quick, and you see, look at that. Didn't even break the barrier. That is how disgusting this is. I don't know if I really want to S3 right now, so I will hold off on it. Okay, let's go for this. Honestly, I probably, now that I think about it, I probably shouldn't have Soul Burned the Aria there. Because we do need to keep in mind that my new Mimuna now can't Soul Burn to seal everyone here. It's okay. We'll actually just go for this right now. We'll just turn the cycle once more. New Luna is pretty decent at that. See, she's moving up in the combat readiness bar. The only issue is Fallen Cecilia is looking a little bit worse for wear. Oh, okay. Thankfully, got the Cascade buff. We were gonna get stunned there, so this is good. We're gonna go for an S3, hopefully push everybody back enough so that Fallen Cecilia can take a turn. Really don't want this Bossarunka to go. Okay. Unfortunately, it looks like Bossarunka is gonna go before the Fallen Cecilia, so she's gonna go down. But we can't really do anything about that. Oh yeah, look at that. Hardly any damage there. He gets an injury, which is nice, but it's just not enough. It's gonna hit the... Actually, you know what? Hitting the Aria here is perfectly fine. Hitting Dragon King Sharoon is fine too. Let's go for a seal on everybody. Now that there is an unbuffable on everyone with a defense break from the Dragon King Sharoon. Beautiful, got the seal. Now they cannot push themselves up. We stunned the Cecilia. That's actually really nice. Let's go for another S3. Let's try to get rid of the Imperial Ilanov. There's only a one-turn defense break left on her, but this is our second S3. Let's see how much damage we do. Oh, see, that's actually not bad. Let's go for an S2 onto the Imperial Ilanov. Turn cycle our New Moon Luna here. Good damage, good splash damage, because the Fallen Cecilia was not able to do anything there. Stun from the counter, so no extra attack from the Harsetti. Let's kind of burst down this Fallen Cecilia while she has a defense break on her. And let's try to stun the Bossarunka. No stun, okay. It's all good. Hopefully we don't die to this. She isn't defense broken, so we're gonna eat the full brunt of this damage here. That's fine, actually. We'll go for an S2. Let's defense break. Let's try and defense break the Harsetti. I know she's stunned, but she is the one with the most health here. Nice, good stuff. And we'll try to defeat the... Let's try and defeat the Fallen Cecilia first before she gets to cleanse with an S3. Extra attack coming in. Yeah, look at that. Decent damage all around, right? Decent damage. I don't want to S3 just yet, so... Because if I do, I don't think I'm landing enough on the Bossarunka. Might as well use this time to try and stun her. Nope, no stun. Okay. We'll S2 here. Now, one thing I'm noticing is that the New Luna is turn cycling quite a bit, and it's really nice for her damage and splash. ML Aria just has the issue where you want all these stats, right? She has a huge stat stick in terms of the free resistance, but you do have to realize that she needs some turn cycling. The S1 gives her combat readiness, which is kind of nice, but if you're like at the 180 sub 200 speed, you do have to probably bring along some sort of CR pusher. I've had some people tell me that they run her on like Durandal and stuff, which is kind of cool too. But yeah, definitely keep in mind that you probably do want some form of combat readiness to pair along with her. Let's go for an S3, see how much damage this does against the defense broken Bossarunka. And we're hitting decently hard, but again, that's with a Soul Burn, that's with the defense break on the Bossarunka, and that's like the third hit with the S3, right? But again, like I mentioned earlier, I feel like she's more of a late game swing of momentum in your favor, rather than like the early game advantage build that you see most other units have. Alright guys, so in an effort to continue to try to spice things up a little bit, let's go ahead and bring out Elvira and Alencia. Still going to be using young Senya here, because Honestly, Arena's kind of stale, and everyone and their mother has Harseti and Mort and some form of a young Senya type of team going on. This time around, though, we have Bystander Hua Young, who is a unit that is kind of scary. I really do not like fighting her, but we're gonna try taking Aria into her here. You kind of have to burst down the Bystander Hua Young first, unless you want to eat a kick to the face. So yeah, we'll have to focus her down here and kind of ignore the Mort, which usually sucks because then Mort has free reign over your entire team. But look at the resists on our side. Absolutely beautiful. Everybody here, Elvira, Young Senya, they're all very, very high resist, and you get even more resistance from the Aria. So this is one thing I wanted to test out. Now, Young Senya, we actually... Hang on. Why did Alencia not get any debuffs? That's pretty funny. But Alencia is actually on Sweet Miracle, so that if she did get debuffed, she can cleanse them herself. But Young Senya, let's go ahead and just push up everyone so we can take the turn. Elvira is going to go next, which is wonderful. I don't want to S3. I don't want to hit anyone here besides the Bystander Hua Young. Nice little dual attack, although it didn't really do all that much. There we go. Do we get a little extra pokey damage? Oh no. He's gonna get the barrier and it's not gonna let us kill. Ooh! It did let us kill! Oh yeah, that's right. Bystander Hua Young can't get buffs. We're good. We're good. So Bystander Hua Young actually went down before Aria went to take a turn. Let's focus on the Great Mortelix here. Let's go for an S3. I don't really care if he counters into us because we have more HP than him, so we can't really ignore res. There you go. That's actually decent damage. I'm actually quite surprised. Alright, Elvira's gonna take the brunt of all the damage from the Earth units on the other side. So I'm gonna go for the S3. We're gonna get 3 turns of immortality, and with all the effect res stacking here, I don't think we're ever gonna get debuffed, besides from the fear, because it ignores res. So much for that resistance stat, am I right? But yeah, there we go. The Elvira is just gonna kind of sit there and soak up damage like a sponge. Exactly what we want. And AoE hits attacking our Senya here are also really good for kind of charging up our fighting spirit. Now let's focus down the Mort if we can. No defense break from the Alencia here, which is a little unfortunate, but if I go for an S3... I think if I go for an S3, that'd be kind of nice. Strip all the buffs here from my opponent. We'll turn cycle a little bit, right? Young Senya will go dual attack. She'll just attack into the Elvira, though. Yeah, there you go. Beautiful. Oh, and Elvira actually snaps out of it, so let's go ahead and provoke this Harseti. Get that extra attack here. Hopefully put some Beguile on my opponent. Oh, there you go. Got a couple Beguiles. And let's let Aria take down the Mort. Again, I love how terribly weak that little first hit is. But then the follow-up attack actually does a decent chunk of damage. So, not terrible. If you soul burn this, it ignores res, which is wonderful. You can go into things like the Young Senya here, and even though she has high resist, you can defense break them. Very nice. And the extra damage proc actually, really good. So, yeah, by the time this match is over, I think Aria is not really going to get a chance to use the second S3, which is okay. Again, I think Aria is better suited for probably some faster-paced matches where her damage is actually pretty good against squishier units. Oh, there we go. Look at that. See, when she actually crits, it does a decent chunk of damage, right? But when you don't, you kind of miss out on a lot. Alright guys, for our 5th and final match here, we're gonna have a little bit of fun. We're gonna bring in Benimaru, who has been an MVP in my Guild Wars. And if you haven't checked out the Guild War videos, here is his build. He is absolutely amazing into Malpera defense teams. But yeah, let's go ahead and jump into this one here. I don't know who is gonna be in the backline of the Dragon Bride Senya, because these placements are blind, so it can differ when you go inside the match. If it's Bystander Hua Young, I'll be a little bit sad. It is not, which is wonderful, and what I'm actually going to do here is I'm going to try to kill the Bystander Hua Young first, and then we'll try to kill the Fire Flan. I think the Aria is actually not terrible into... Ooh, oh, hang on. Is Bunnydom about to die? Because that's not good. Ooh, it's not good. I built her with an extra kind of bulk here, too. So, Dragon Bride Senya going to come in, hit the Aria. We have Skill Null. Thankfully. DJB gets to go. I could push up the team here. I should push up the team here. Well, we never got an attack buff from the Bunnydom. That kind of sucks. Yeah, I think pushing up the team here is the best thing to do. That's a pretty good combo, actually. Getting the Dragon Bride Senya to go right after the Pyrrha, and then you get to push up the Fire Flawn and everything. That's kind of disgusting. So, we'll go for the Bystander Hwayoung first. Unfortunately, no attack buff, which means I don't know if we can one-shot her here. Let's see if we do. Come on, man. Benimaru, you can do it. You're on Torrent. Nice, beautiful stuff. Okay, so this is actually kind of perfect because the Dragon Bride Senya has a barrier, and that barrier is exactly what I want for my DJB to kind of barrier invert here. But yeah, Disciplinary Prefect Aria. I think final thoughts on her. Decent unit, not terrible, right? Not a terrible unit whatsoever. Her passives and stuff, she has a pretty loaded kit in general. I just think that she will find her place. If you're kind of struggling to find a use for her right now, I can guarantee you that she'll probably find a place relatively soon, and that people will be using her to some decent success. Yeah, it's just that right now, if you're feeling like her damage is lackluster, it's because the meta's kind of tanky, and it does take her a little bit of a while to ramp up. There are things that can be done to, like, quote-unquote fix her, but are they things that I think are super necessary right now? Not necessarily. I think we give it a little bit of time for her to settle in a bit before we demand any changes to her, because look at this. Initial hits, like, not great, but the follow-up damage, I don't see a problem with this, honestly, personally, but you're welcome to destroy me in the comments for that, but I think her, like, damage is actually not terrible. Not as bad as people made it out to be, at the very least. I think going Destruction set is probably the way to go. Counter set is really appealing, but I'm starting to see why some of my guildmates and some of my people in the Discord server, link in the description by the way, are saying that speed is kind of necessary for her to turn cycle into more S3s, because that is really where the bulk of her damage comes from. But let me know what you guys think of Disciplinary Prefect Aria in the comment section down below, and I'll catch you in the next one. Take care.